mange money.
Subscribe to Masuk for a strong and prosperous economy.
The 2PM Newscast
with
Frinui Crispin.
Monday, November 17, 2025. Dear listeners, good afternoon and welcome to the news. Our main points. Cameroon today joins other nations worldwide to observe the 2025 edition of World Premature Day.
Most of the time, what we have as causes of premature births, which are very common, are infectious diseases such as malaria, urinary tract infections, and genital infections.
Campaigns for regional elections have officially started across the national territory after its launch by Elections Cameroon over the weekend. Out of the country, at least 32 people have died in a mine in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And in sports, we talk handball and football. Those were the main points. It is a renewed pleasure to have you, ladies and gentlemen. We begin with health. World Premature Day is observed today. It is a global awareness day dedicated to highlighting the challenges and impact of preterm birth. It serves as a powerful reminder of the urgent needs to improve care for preterm infants and support their families around the world. But what is premature birth and its causes? Asong Michael is a medical doctor.
We can define a premature birth as any birth that takes place before 37 weeks of gestation or pregnancy. And there are several causes that can lead to premature births. So most of the time, what we have as causes which are very common are infectious diseases. Infectious diseases such as malaria, infectious diseases such as urinary tract infections, and genital infections. More to that, we also have diseases which are being related to pregnancy, such as hypertension, which can also lead to preeclampsia or eclampsia. We also have obstetrical malformations that can cause it, like a placenta previa. We can have a malformed cervix, and these are things that can also provoke a premature birth. There are other things that we can have, like trauma. Trauma too can actually induce premature birth, and even certain substances, might be alcohol, tobacco, can induce premature births too. Nevertheless, we should not forget other diseases like diabetes, like obesity, which can also cause premature births.
The medical doctor goes further to talk about issues that can lead to premature birth.
Another issue too is the fact that premature births too can be caused by the fact that most pregnant women are not properly followed. So they don't go for their prenatal consultations, they don't do their prenatal checkups and lab tests, and most of the time the diseases which could be prevented and cured on time would develop and become more severe to the point where they can induce labor before the time which is being medically provided for labor to start. So those are one of the issues we're facing, considering the fact that access to healthcare is a real problem in Cameroon. There are so many areas, rural areas and places that don't have health facilities. And not only do they don't have health facilities, they don't have technical facilities, they don't have a well-trained medical staff that can take care appropriately of these issues.
From one celebration to another, November 16 was observed globally as the World Day of the Poor. It is a Roman Catholic observance established by Pope Francis in 2016. Ngang Nadesh interviewed a man of God who talks about the role of financial and spiritual or material wealth in one's spiritual journey. Take a listen to the Reverend Pastor David Tita.
Financial and material support is very important to someone's walk in faith because, number one, the Bible clearly stated, as in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18, Paul was encouraging the church in Corinth to make financial and material support for the brethren in the church in Jerusalem. And we see he even made comment about the church in Macedonia. Though financially they were weak, but they were able to raise some financial and material support for the church in Jerusalem that was in need. And Paul, equally in Philippians chapter 4, verse 19, praying that God will be able to supply all the needs of the church in Philippi, all their needs according to God's riches in Christ Jesus. There are spiritual, financial, and material needs, which shows clearly that financial and material support is very important in somebody's walk in faith. Bible gives that commendation from the biblical perspective. It is important. Considering our day-to-day life, somebody who does not have money, does not have material needs met, have a challenge to work. For example, to go to church without being clothed, it will be a challenge. Even when you go to church and you're hungry, you are famished, you are starving, it becomes difficult to even pray, difficult to concentrate. So when somebody has an empty stomach, somebody has bills he has to pay, has a lot of things that are around him, and the needs are not met. Like Jesus said, the worries of this life in the parable of the sower that he gave, he said, the seed was sown, but the worries of this life, who has to do with financial, material needs, came and choked up the word. When the needs are met, the financial needs are met, the physical needs are met, the material needs are met, it is easier for somebody to walk and serve the Lord. So our walk and our faith in Christ should not be conditioned by those things, but those things are also very important to sustain our faith.
It is 9 minutes past the hour of 2. You are listening to the 2 p.m. newscast on Royal FM and live on YouTube and Facebook. We dive into politics. Campaigns for the regional elections have officially kicked off across the country, being the second since the creation of regional councils. The polls will be relying on municipal councillors and traditional chiefs who elect 900 representatives nationwide. As such, Evans Williams Jobati got insights from some of the contending political parties and now reports.
Coming at the heels of the presidential election, the regional election will feature a total of 11 political parties aiming to have supremacy in 58 departments nationwide. Professor Yufi Chinje is head of the CPDM Permanent Divisional Committee in Gokhitunja, Northwest region of Cameroon.
This election is indirect suffrage by the councillors, showing that they are bringing the powers from their different localities to give it to the regional councillors, who are responsible for decentralization. As well, in the Northwest, we know about the special status. So when we talk about the regional assembly, we talk about the special status, which is what we know our people are canvassing for. Every councillor has accepted to be part of the game of decentralization, of bringing powers to the small communities they represent. Everybody should be engaged in the action.
To quadruplets of the CPNR, the campaigns already started on their part in the central region even before they were launched officially last November 15, 2025.
We can start mobilizing ourselves for the upcoming elections because despite the executive, we can sit battle and have the majority. Not only all the opposition, majority at the National Assembly and even the local councils. From there, we can still recover or review this regime. And our militants, we are really mobilizing ourselves for the upcoming elections. That is a local election.
Same motivations within the SDF, where Kungaba Lionel communicates fiercely.
The life of a political party is like a cycle. Immediately election finished, we started working for other upcoming elections because the work we do on daily basis to have various voting positions. The Social Democratic Front is trying to pave the way forward for the upcoming municipal and legislative elections, as well as see how to restructure the party.
Getting to the UDC, Leon Darcy speaks of acquiring a perfect majority in the West region before eyeing other areas.
We are involved in the West region or the regional there, so we are preparing for that. And the next step after this, you'll be running for the municipal and legislative elections. That's what we are doing now. We are preparing for that. To well prepare, you take out, you bring on the table the results of the presidential elections. You see what's happening here and there, this region or this division. You look and see how the result we have. From this, you prepare well and see what you can do better on this part.
According to Article 243 of the Electoral Code, regional councillors are hence then delegates from departments elected by direct universal suffrage, representatives of traditional authorities elected by their peers and with a 5-year term of office eligible for re-elections.
In the meantime, the president of the National Communication Council, Joseph Chebonken Kalabobse, has invited public and private media outlets to suspend other political programs and respect existing regulations as the country will be hosting the regional elections come November the 30th, 2025. The NCC boss made this call last Friday, November 14, at the council's headquarters during a meeting with media professionals. Here is an excerpt.
The National Communication Council wishes to remind you that the activities of all media organs, public or private, must comply with these 4 principles. 1. The principle of equality. This requires ensuring equal access for all candidates or their representatives to the media during campaign programs. 2. The principle of fairness. This entails the fair treatment of candidates or their representatives in electoral news programs that report on their campaign activities. 3. The principle of transparency. This refers to the ethical obligation to distinguish clearly between news and advertising or electoral propaganda. It is expressly forbidden to combine reporting and propaganda in the same time slot. And 4, the principle of pluralism and balance. Pluralism here thus requires due consideration of the diversity of opinion. Media must make a concerted effort to gather the views of all competing parties and candidates. Balance to ensuring a proportionate and harmonized processing of opinion or collected information.
On to this feature story. In a society where traditional gender roles often prevail, single fathers in Cameroon are an invisible minority, with their struggles and triumph largely unrecognized. Behind the closed doors, they are fighting battles and making sacrifices. Our reporter Ngang Nadesh caught up with a sociologist who takes a closer look at the challenges of this solo parenting. Her report.
Single fathers in Cameroon often find themselves invisible, their struggles overlooked by a society that tends to focus on single mothers. Gueye Victorine is a sociologist.
Men are not the majority. The women are the majority and the men are the minority in number. So it's quite normal that their own single parenthood is being neglected. And then given the fact that men even hardly stay lonely, because immediately the woman dies, a man after some time is going to take another wife that is going to come and be taking care of the children. So their own aspect of single parenthood does not really show because they always have somebody who is accompanying the children. So the men hardly even live with those children to actually portray that aspect of single parenthood.
According to the experts, the phenomenon of single fatherhood is often neglected, partly because many men who lose their spouses tend to remarry, leaving a small minority of single dads navigating the challenges of solo parenting. As a result, the struggles and needs of these single fathers often go unrecognized.
Most of the times, it is being felt only by those men that have decided not to get married again and to stay with their children. And we have very few men like that in society. So that's when you actually see that this man is a single parent, but the family always comes in to take care of those children. And then given the fact that the man is the determining factor, it doesn't really portray a lot.
The sociologist further highlights that the burden of single parenthood often falls disproportionately on women who are frequently expected to take on responsibilities previously shared with their partners. As a result, the challenges faced by single mothers are more visible, while the struggles of single fathers who are often expected to maintain traditional masculine roles remain neglected and under-supported. Gwenyi Victorine once again.
It portrays much with a woman because the woman becomes the breadwinner. She is the mother alone. She does everything on that child alone, whereas it was the man's job to be taking care of the home. So it's actually not really visible when it comes to the man's own. And then it's only visible when these children will actually suffer in the hands of another woman. That's when we actually know that, oh, this man is a single parent, or this man is taking care of these children all alone.
The sociologist concludes by noting that
our society does not look at single parenthood too much on the side of the man. They look at it on the side of the woman more because, the woman is the weaker sex and the man is the determining factor. So we always know that men are capable, but women are the weaker vessels.
in Cameroon, approximately 2.5% of households are headed by single fathers who face significant challenges, including poverty and social stigma.
And in economy, the prices of palm oil have been soaring, leaving many households struggling to afford this major cooking ingredient. In several markets of Yaoundé, traders are pointing out various reasons that led to the price hike. Our reporter Jeffrey Tachum spoke with some of them and compiled the following report.
The price of palm oil, an ingredient widely used by Cameroonians in cooking, has witnessed significant increase in recent weeks. At the Essos market in Yaoundé, Solomon, palm oil trader, believes that seasons accounts for the difficulties in acquiring this essential foodstuff.
Now is not a season who many people produce the oil, because problem is the season. Every production oil have a special season. This is no season. Season begin to January and February. This November and December. We have a problem to buy oil. Oil is lack. Oil is no more in the market because we have a difficult to have the approvisionment price go up.
On the other hand, poor road infrastructures in Cameroon have an impact on the transport of palm oil from local zones to the cities, according to Kingsley, a wholesaler.
We have so many difficulties in route to bring the oil. It affects my business because I don't have it. I don't even have it. The oil now is so expensive, and then we have so many difficulties to have it. Yes, I have customers now. Yes, they're complaining. How can you be complaining with something that you don't even have it? They are not even seeing it. You have the money, but you are not seeing it.
In the middle of this situation, traders are left with no other choices than to jump into struggle mode.
People are still buying, although they are complaining. They are complaining, but they are buying now, so there's no problem. That is expensive. There are times like that when the price is good, and there are times that the price is bad. I can sell 1 liter like this to gain 100 francs.
In this popular market, traders have each their own way of coping with inflation in prices.
I sell, I don't have a problem. People who have the problem is somebody who use it. When I sell it there, I have my benefit. Yes, the customer have the problem because oil is there. Me, I don't have a problem.
So there's nothing, it's just to keep customers. Maybe they can buy oil and buy rice also, they can buy oil and buy granules. Not to say that you're not having oil, they'll go to different places now. It's just to keep customers now, it's not to look for gain. There's no more gain.
The price of refined palm oil in Cameroon recently rose from 700 to 1,000 CFA francs per liter, while a gallon of this oil now sells at 20,000 CFA francs.
In more economic news, Cameroonian-born business tycoon Fabrice Njodo's investment firm Minkama Capital has signed an agreement to acquire a majority stake in Shokokam, though the deal is expected to be finalized by mid-2026. Minkama Capital will thus be buying 74.69% of the shares from the South African agro-business group Tiger Brands to the tune of some 46.68 billion francs CFA. This agreement marks a significant step towards Chococam returning to local ownership. Joining me in the studio is Mapala Zita, who is senior reporter and editor-in-chief here at Royal FM. Good afternoon, Zita.
Good afternoon, Crispin.
With you, we talk what's making news out of Cameroon, and our first stop is in the DR Congo, where at least 32 people died in a mine.
A bridge at a copper and cobalt mine in southeastern Congo collapsed due to overcrowding, killing more than 30 people and injuring a host of others. This, according to a regional government official. The bridge at the Kalando mine in Mulundo, Lualaba province, fell over the weekend, and as stated by Roy Kwaumba Mayonde, the province's interior minister, there had been strict prohibitions on access to the site due to heavy rainfalls and the risk of landslides, but illegal diggers still forced their way into the quarry, Crispin.
Zita, you say a cyber attack on the e-visa system in Somalia has exposed travelers' data.
Somalia's government has admitted that its electronic visa system was hacked, exposing personal information of thousands of travelers. The Immigration and Citizenship Agency said it had launched an investigation into the breach and moved the e-visa platform to a new site, adding that it was treating the matter with special importance. Nothing particular has, however, been said to clarify the situation. The announcement came after warnings from the United States of America and the United Kingdom, which said the cyber attack may have compromised data for more than 35,000 applicants, including foreign nationals and American citizens. The incident also come amid renewed tensions between Somalia and Somaliland over control of airspace and border systems, with the two sides trading warnings over travel and visa policies.
What else do you have in your file, Zita?
We move to Madagascar, close to a month after being sworn in as Madagascar's president of the Reef Foundation. Michael Randrianirina has made his highly anticipated first address to the nation. Speaking in a pre-recorded televised conversation from the State Palace, the colonel, who rose to power after weeks of tension and youth-led demonstrations, firmly rejected claims that the fall of his predecessor, Andry Rajoelina, was a coup. He further announced a nationwide consultation and a referendum, which will be followed by a presidential elections within 2 years. And asked if he is going to contest for that election, he said it will be the choice of the people. Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death for crimes against humanity over her crackdown on students-led protests, which led to her ousting. Hasina was found guilty of allowing lethal force to be used against protesters, with over 1,400 of them dying during the unrest last year. She was tried and sentenced in absentia by the International Criminal Tribunal of Bangladesh, this as she had gone into exile in India after the unrest. Back to you, Crispin.
Thank you, Mapala Zita. We come back with our sports package. Cameroon's senior men's handball team has been placed in Group C of the upcoming Men's Africa Cup of Nations, scheduled to kick off on January in Rwanda. The team will be in the company of Tunisia, Guinea and Kenya for the group stage. Here is an excerpt of an interview with handball expert Ashifon Henry, who talks on Cameroon's chances.
I think Cameroon was blessed to be in there. We have just one hard nut to crack, which is Tunisia in the preliminary round, of which we should not throw out all our energy there. But a game that we should never lose or even draw is against Guinea-Conakry, which is a rising country and whom for the past years have been participating in the cadet and junior categories of the World Championships. The first objective of Cameroon is to be one of the first two of the pool through the preliminary round to the principal round. If Cameroon is second in the preliminary round, Cameroon goes to the main round with the first two of Group G, which is either Cape Verde, Morocco, Congo or Benin. And coming out first or second qualifies directly to the semi-finals, which is also qualification for the World Championship.
Good afternoon, Biwa Brian.
Good afternoon, Frinu Crispin.
In football, Samuel Eto'o has been listed as the only candidate for the post of president at the Cameroon Football Federation.
The Candidacy Review Commission released the official list of contenders over the weekend, confirming that only Samuel Eto'o's application was approved for the election scheduled for November 29 in Bankomo. All other applicants were administratively rejected after review, primarily due to incomplete candidacies, leaving the former Indomitable Lions captain as the unopposed candidate for the Fecafoot presidency. In a turn of events, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mole-Kombi, has rejected Fecafoot's request to have the ministry representative observe the upcoming electoral session. The minister delivered a stern assessment of the federation's conduct, assessing the current leaderships of ignoring state-recognized status and unilaterally rushing into an elections without proper adherence to established procedure.
At continental level, Andre Onana and Zambo Anguissa have been left out of the final short list for the CAF Awards.
The Confederation of African Football CAF has officially unveiled the final shortlist for the 2025 CAF Awards, with Andre Onana and Zambo Anguissa left out in their respective categories. In the final three nominees for the men's category, it includes Egypt's Mohamed Salah, Morocco's Ashraf Hakimi, and Nigeria's Victor Osimhen. In the women's category, Nigeria's Rasisdat Azibade is in the final three, competing with Moroccan star Ghislaine Shebak and Sana Mousdi for the Women's Player of the Year. The ceremony, which is set to take place in Rabat, Morocco on Wednesday, November 19, 2025, will also celebrate excellence in other categories, including the goalkeeper, coach, and national team of the year, with the winners to be decided by a panel of experts, coaches, and media representatives.
Before you go, Brian, the Democratic Republic of Congo has qualified for the Interconfederation World Cup and will now bid for Africa's 10th spot for the World Cup.
The team secured a dramatic spot in the FIFA Interconfederations playoffs for the 2026 World Cup after defeating rivals Nigeria in a tense penalty shootout last evening. The Leopards triumphed 4-3 on penalties following a 1-1 draw after extra time in the CAF playoffs final held in Rabat, Morocco. This victory keeps DR Congo's World Cup dreams alive as they now prepare to face off against other continental representatives in the final playoffs tournament in March 2025. Notably, this win sends the Congolese team one step closer to their first ever World Cup appearance since their appearance in the 1974 edition.
Olivier Ndema Epo is here with the summary of this newscast in the French language. Good afternoon, Olivier.
Bon après-midi, Frinu Crispin. Ce lundi 17 novembre marque le troisième jour de campagne pour l'élection des conseillers régionaux au Cameroun. 11 partis politiques sont en lice pour la conquête des suffrages. Le scrutin proprement dit va se dérouler le 30 novembre 2025. Ce 17 novembre est également consacré à la célébration de la Journée mondiale de la prématurité. L'occasion est bonne pour faire connaître le principe de prise en charge des nouveau-nés dits prématurés, c'est-à-dire les enfants nés avant la 37e semaine de grossesse. Le Cameroun se joint au reste du monde pour la commémoration de cette journée internationale. Hors de nos frontières, en RD Congo, le bilan de l'effondrement d'une mine de cobalt samedi dernier fait état de 32 morts à ce jour. Les recherches se poursuivent sur le site de Kalondo afin d'extraire d'autres victimes du drame. Elles sont rendues difficiles, ces recherches, par les fortes pluies et des risques de nouveaux effondrements dans la mine. Les versions sont nombreuses sur les causes du drame. Pour le ministre provincial de l'intérim, Roy Kaumba Mayonde, le site déclaré potentiellement à risque étaient interdites de toute activité minière. Cependant, des populations ont bravé cet interdit. Selon le service d'assistance et d'encadrement de l'exploitation minière artisanale, un mouvement de panique causé par des militaires serait à l'origine du drame. Les sports pour finir, la Confédération africaine de handball a procédé vendredi dernier au tirage au sort de la CAN masculine 2025. La sélection du Cameroun va évoluer dans la poule C en compagnie des Tunisie, Kenya et Guinée. Le championnat d'Afrique de handball messieurs va se dérouler au Rwanda en janvier prochain.
The news was technically assisted by Ulrich Kamwe, our sound engineer and studios clerk, video editor Brian Bida, news editing Mapalazita, editorial coaching-able Bela Samari, coordination Roger Kiek, and for general supervision the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For presentation